today, but in silence. Amen. Good morning, Kahal Kadosh. Erev Shabbat Kodesh, Perashat Mikes Makam Siga, Shabbat Rosh Chodesh Tevet Chanukah. The 29th day of Kislev, the 27th day of December. Today, we have a very special guest coming all the way from the UK, London, to be specifically. So therefore, we'll have a different format of the class today. First, we are going to invite Rabbi Moshe Levy to open up the class. And in a few minutes, Be'ezat Hashem, especially those watching or listening live, I'm going to go over on the halachot of Chanukah for Friday afternoon, Shabbat daytime, and Mosai Shabbat, when to light, how to light. So stay tuned, and Be'ezat Hashem will go over this very essential and important halachot. To introduce the great rabbi, the rabbi is involved with a wonderful outreach program known as Hazak. Hazak, which means to be strong. Hazak, Hazak, Benit Hazek, as the custom is to say whenever we finish a Sefer Torah of the Humashim reading. And obviously the purpose of this program is to do outreach, which literally means to bring closer our brethren which are sometimes a bit far spiritually from the beautiful ways of the Torah, which in a way, this is what Chanukah is all about, to minimize assimilation or to annihilate assimilation and to reactivate the holiness and godliness that every Yehudi has. So at this moment, I will do something that I hardly do at this hour of the day. I'm going to stay quiet. I'm going to listen. And we're going to give the mic to Rabbi Moshe Levy from Hazak, London, UK. So kindly turn the camera to the great rabbi. Okay, Rabbi. So I'm sure you're used to this. This is for the live feed, and this is for the room. So hold it as you please.
Bershut, Rav Shalita, Kahal Kadosh. Remember when I was in Kolel? So a friend of mine, he was very nervous. I said to him, is everything okay? He said, I'm going for a job interview. And the board is very tough. I said, you know what? I'll do you a favor. I'll take one for the team. He said, what do you mean? I said, I'll go. I'll show up. I'll give the worst speech you ever had. I'll ask a question. Forget the answer. Forget the story in the middle. And this way, when you come, automatically, you look amazing. He said, you do that for me? I said, I do that for you. Where's the interview? He told me it was a few hours away. I said, I'm not that nice a guy. So I think it could be you brought me over here. I'm sure you appreciate your rabbi. When you bring in a guest speaker and you have, he does his hishtalut, but when you have such a great rabbi like Rabbi Galimidi, and then you bring in someone else, you appreciate and you're able to see how amazing your rabbi is. So I'll take one for the team. It's my zechut, my pleasure to take one for the team. As the rabbi mentioned, we have very special 3 Sifrei Torah. We have Rosh Chodesh, we have Chanukah, and we have the Parasha. So I'll do my best in the few minutes that I have to try and tie it all together and give us an important practical message. This week's Parasha is a continuation from last week's Parasha. V'hi miked shenatayim yamim paro cholem v'no omed alay or. Last week's Parasha, Yosef is in jail. And we were introduced to the butler and the baker. There's a beautiful Malbim. It says, Vahi achar hadarim ha'ele. It was after these things. Chatu, they sinned, Mashke melech Mitzrayim, the butler of the king of Egypt, Va'ofeh, and the baker, La'adonehem, to their master, Lemelech Mitzrayim. Paro, Va'iksof Paro, Shne Sarisa, V'sara Mashkim Sara Ofim. Our whole lives, we learned that what's going on over here. You have the head butler, the head baker. What did the head baker do wrong? What? He left some pebbles, he left some stones in the food. What did the butler do wrong? A fly comes in the last second. If I was to ask you whose transgression is worse, what would you tell me? The baker. if Paro was going to reinstate one of them, who would he likely reinstate? The butler. Says the Malbim, look at the pasuk. Your whole life you read it like Rashi, but it's so beautiful. It was after these things, Hatu Mashke sinned the butler, Va'aofeh and the baker, La'adonehem to their master, Lemelech Mitzrayim. He says, what did it just say? They sinned to their master, or they sinned to the king of Egypt. What do you mean, La'adonehem, the Melech Mitzrayim? Va'iksof Paro al Shnei Sarisav. Who does Paro get upset at? Sara Mashkim, Sara Ofin. The head butler, the head baker. What do we call them in the first pasuk? The butler and the baker. In the second pasuk, what does it call them? Sara Mashkim, Sara Ofim. Says the Malbim, so simple and so beautifully. How many people work in the royal kitchen? Many. Does the head baker bake everything? No. Does the head butler pour every cup of wine? No. The head baker, his job is to oversee. The head butler has one job. What's his one job? Taste the wine, make sure there's no poison, serve it, make sure it's clean. Did the head baker bake the bread that had the pebbles in it? No. If I was to ask you now, whose transgression is worse, what would you tell me? The head butler. He had one job. The head baker, they didn't know. It's not his fault, this pebbles in the food. He didn't make everything. Who does Paro get upset at? He doesn't deal with the low-level people. Who does Paro get upset at? Sara Mashkim, Sara Ofim. And this week's parasha, when the head butler comes to Paro and says, Et chata'ai ani maskir hayom, really, he should have been the one to get killed. The head baker wasn't his fault. So this is a big deal that he's coming. When 3 days before you decided on your birthday you're going to reinstate me and kill the head baker, Paro says 3 days before this guy knew, I only decided the morning of. This guy knows how to interpret dreams. It's that much more impressive when you understand it, and that's the way you read the psukim. Yosef's in jail, and he puts his trust and his faith in the head butler. And therefore, Vahim Miketz Shenatayim Yamim. It's 2 more years that he has to spend in jail. And if you think about it, it's something unbelievable. Because really, if Yosef would have put his trust in Hashem, on his level, the way he should have, right away, he would have been taken out of jail. Which means right away, there would have been 7 years of plenty, and then right away, there would have been, after that, 7 years of famine. The whole world changes. Why? Just for Yosef. Everybody, there's a regular another 2 years instead of 7 years of plenty, because this one guy is a kid. He's 20-something years old. He has to stay in jail another 2 years. And then Chachamim point out, famous line in the Gemara, B'shvili nivra olam. The world was created for me. Yosef HaTzadik, the whole world, not just the people, the whole world was affected by the famine. The whole world is affected by the 7 years. The economy is plentiful for 7 years. The whole world gets affected, but it's delayed 2 years because of one guy. One guy. B'shvili nivra olam. You read the beginning of this week's parasha and you have to tell yourself, this is something unbelievable, that I can affect the whole world. There's a story I heard years ago with Reb Gifter. Reb Gifter was the Rosh Yeshiva and tells Yeshiva in Cleveland. And he had a wedding in New York City. He gets on the plane with a bunch of his students, and the weather wasn't going to be that great, but it was supposed to hold out. In the middle of the flight, there starts to be not just a snowstorm, blizzard. And there's a lot of turbulence. The pilot says, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very sorry, we're going to have to make an emergency landing. He lands the plane in Washington, D.C. They're waiting an hour, 2 hours. After a few hours, in the airport, they say, we're very sorry. Due to the hazardous conditions, all flights are delayed indefinitely. They can't even leave the airport. There's no cars, there's nothing. Blizzard, over an inch per hour. It's about to be sunset. The rabbi looks around. He says, how many people we have? They counted the rabbi and 8 students. So they're looking around. They want to pray mincha. Excuse me, sir, are you Jewish? Are you Jewish? One guy, yeah, I'm Jewish. Is your mother Jewish? No. Okay. Next guy, yeah, we're Jewish. They're looking around. The sun's about to set. They're already in the last few minutes. They say, what can we do? They're about to pray biyachid. Comes over one of the cleaners, one of the janitors who works in the airport. The guy's got tattoos, nose ring, tongue ring, earring, enough bling to open up his own kiosk in the shopping center. He says, maybe I can help you. They said, oh, you work here? He says, yeah, I work here. They said, is there anybody here who's Jewish? He says, me. They said, and mother's Jewish? He says, yeah. What are you looking for? They said, we're looking for a 10th Jew. To do what? Just to stand there. What do I need to do? I don't know anything. He says, you stand there. When everybody else says amen, you say amen. I can do that. Okay. In. The rabbi, they're praying. It's very nice. Towards the end, the guy comes to the rabbi, the only one with the beard. He says, you the rabbi? He says, yeah. He says, is there a special prayer that a mourner says? He says, yeah, there is. He says, can you help me say it? Looking at the guy, if he would have seen this guy, he would have crossed the street. And now the guy is asking him, okay, sure. They get Ashkenazim, they say the Amidah after the Aleinu L'Shabach, Yitgadal, Yitgadal. The Kaddish, Yitgadal, Yitgadal, Yitgadal. He's repeating word by word. In the middle, this janitor breaks down crying. And he's crying, and he's crying. They're all looking, they can't believe it. The rabbi waits, he recomposes himself. They finish the Kaddish. And the rabbi says, what's going on over here? He says, I'll tell you, Rabbi. My father passed away 4 days ago. And he came to me in a dream. And he said, I want you to go to the synagogue and say the Kaddish, the mourner's prayer. You don't know what it does here in Shamayim. And I ignored it. The next night again, my father came to me in a dream and he said, I want you to... And I ignored it. And then again he came to me in a dream and I said, I haven't been to synagogue in 25 years. I don't have a temple, I don't have nothing. I don't know how to read Hebrew anymore, I forgot, I'm not going. And then again last night he came to me in a dream and he said, I want you to go to synagogue. And I said, Dad, I'm not going. And he said, okay, if you won't go to synagogue, I'll bring the synagogue to you. Now this is a blizzard that affects hundreds of millions. Or millions and millions. The economy, I know the day after the Super Bowl, they did research, they realized productivity is down by approximately 200 to 500 million. Everyone's sitting around talking about the commercials, the game, the this, the that. When there's a blizzard, you know how many billions are lost? Why is there a blizzard? Not for a big rabbi, not for a Kabbalist. Why is this some janitor who hasn't been to shul in 25 years so that he can say Kaddish? The whole world gets affected. The whole world gets affected for who? For Yosef. 2 years delay that the economy is going to be booming. You read the parasha, you need to stop and say, everything was created for me. But not only that, understand and appreciate who you are and what you can do. We have coming up tonight Rosh Chodesh. Now if you look at the first Rashi in the whole Torah, what does Rashi say? He quotes Amar Rabbi Yitzchak. Some say it was his father Rabbi Yitzchak. Some say it was a different Rabbi Yitzchak. But he quoted Rabbi Yitzchak. So the Torah starts, his commentary starts quoting Rabbi Yitzchak. That's his name. Rashi is Rabbi Shlomo Yitzchaki. Yitzchak from Yitzchak. And he says the Torah should have started from Rosh Chodesh. HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem. But we want the different people in the world. They're going to come and they're going to say, Listimatem, you're a bunch of thieves. You stole Israel. You should know God created the world. He gave it to certain people. He can take it back from them and give it to us. I remember hearing that years and years and years ago, Bibi Netanyahu was by the Lubavitcher Rebbe. And they were talking about Israel giving back land. He opens up, he says, read this to the UN. Tell them this is what Rashi says. That's why the whole Torah, it's not a history book. Torah comes from the term Hora'ah. It's a guidebook. I don't think Bibi went to the UN and read them Rashi. But that's what he told them he should do. We have to know that Israel is ours. But really, says Rashi, the Torah should have started from HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem. Why? So, like we said, on a simple level, HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem, that's the beginning of the halachot. The whole book of Bereshit, till HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem, you have 3 mitzvot, Pru Urvu, Yidan Asher, Brit Milah, but otherwise, the whole book of Bereshit, of Genesis, is stories to know where we come from. But my Rabbi, Rabbi Berkowitz, told us a beautiful idea. What does it mean the Torah should have started from Rosh Chodesh? What is so unique about Rosh Chodesh? I remember years ago, maybe 12, 13 years ago, I was living in Israel. I was giving a class to a bunch of boys who didn't necessarily connect so much to Torah and Judaism. And I was talking about tefillin, the importance of tefillin, why we put on tefillin. One of my favorite ideas, I tell all bar mitzvah boys, how many paragraphs are there in the tefillin? 4. Shema v'haya, kadesh li, and v'haya ki aviacha. In the tefillin of the Shel Rosh, you see that there's 4 compartments, 4 separate pieces of parchment. On the tefillin of the hand, you have the same 4 parchments, four paragraphs, one long piece of parchment. Ask the Ben Ish Chai why. Either they should all be on one long piece, or they should have 4. He says, beautiful idea. You have 5 senses. You can see, you can smell, you can taste, you can hear, and you can touch. On your head, you have 4 senses. So the tefillin of the head has 4 compartments. The tefillin of the hand is just one, just the sense of touch, using your hand. Says the Ben Ish Chai, you start every day putting on your tefillin. Why? You're telling Hashem the most basic, simple functionalities of seeing, smelling, tasting, hearing, touching. I thank you, Hashem. You put on your tefillin. And I talked about the importance of tefillin. The next day was Rosh Chodesh. I pray Shachrit, and what do you do right before Musaf? You take off your tefillin. And I thought to myself, why are you taking off your tefillin? Surely your prayers are only better and more enhanced when you're wearing tefillin. Why would you take off your tefillin? Maybe don't put them on special, but take them off. So I looked around. One of the Mefarshim says, we say in the Kiddusha of the Musaf, Keter yitenu lecha. Hashem, you're the one who wears the crown. So we take off our crown. Hashem's the only one that wears a crown. It needs its own shiur, what that means. We're wearing a crown, the tefillin, okay. But most Mefarshim say, why do you take off your tefillin on Rosh Chodesh? Because it's like Chol HaMoed. It's like a Yom Tov. It's like Sukkot. It's like Pesach. You don't wear your tefillin on Chol HaMoed. So too, Rosh Chodesh, it has that level of Yom Tov. It's a mini Yom Tov. Take off your tefillin. What makes Rosh Chodesh such a Yom Tov so special? So you look at the pasuk. HaChodesh hazeh lachem. This month is for you. Who decides when it's going to be Rosh Chodesh? Back in the day, who decided? 2 regular guys walk into court. We saw the moon. They get asked questions. Bet Din says, Rosh Chodesh. 15 days from Rosh Chodesh Nisan, Pesach. You eat chametz on the wrong day. What happens? Karet, you get killed. Who decided what's the right day? 2 regular guys. Not big Kabbalists, again, not big tzaddikim. 2 regular Joes, they walk into court and they decide when's Rosh Chodesh. What happens down here, Hashem listens to upstairs. There's a story with the Taz. The Taz is the son-in-law of the Bach. You open up the Shulchan Aruch, on one side is the Taz. You open up the Tur, on one side you have Rabbi Yosef Karo, and the other side you have the Bach. One time, Bet Hadash, one time the Taz takes his father-in-law, the Bach, to court. They come to Bet Din. I don't know where they found the Bet Din that was going to judge them, but okay. They come to Bet Din, and the Taz says, I have a complaint on my father-in-law. When I got married, he promised me support every day. What was support? Not money. Lunch, a bowl of soup with meat inside. Okay. He says, he's been giving me a bowl of soup, but it hasn't been good quality meat. It's been like cheap liver type of stuff, and I was promised the top meat. Bet Din deliberates, and they find in favor of the Bach. So they walk out of court, and the students of the Taz, they say to him, Rabbi, it's never a good idea to take your in-laws to court. Highly unrecommended. Yeah, never do that. But something so trivial, something so, the quality of meat, the Taz says, I was planning on losing, I was hoping to lose. They said, what are you talking about? He says, when I have the better quality meat, I have more energy, I learn better. When I have the meat my father-in-law is giving me, I don't have the same type of energy, and my learning is not as good. And I was worried, we're going to get to Shamayim, and in Shamayim, Bet Din is going to say to my father-in-law, because of you, he didn't learn as well. But once Bet Din down here decided it's okay, now my father-in-law is good. In Shamayim, they won't have any tanot, they won't have any complaints. Because what happens down here, that's what Hashem decides upstairs. HaChodesh hazeh lachem. We have to understand that we have the power. What we decide down here, that's what Hashem acquiesces and listens to in Shamayim. My rabbi said, that's what Rashi meant. The Torah should have started from HaChodesh hazeh lachem. You know what the first thing in the whole Torah? Before I give you all the rules, you have to know that you can keep all these rules. That you have the power to do anything. And when you understand how powerful you are, how special you are, how unique you are, then I can give you all the rules. But if I just give you all the rules and you don't think you can keep them, I'm almost wasting my time. HaChodesh hazeh lachem, the Torah should have started, lachem, you have the power down here to affect what Hashem does in Shamayim. You have the power to do everything and anything, to keep the whole Torah, as challenging as it might be. HaChodesh hazeh lachem, that's a Yom Tov. That's a reason to celebrate. That's like a Sukkot and a Pesach. That's a special, unique day. HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem. And ultimately, that's what the Maccabees do on Chanukah. You have a handful of rabbis. We picture Yehuda Maccabee. He's got big muscles, the toga, and the hadassim. His father's Kohen Gadol, bunch of rabbis. Right? They have Megillat Esther. There's something called Megillat Antiochus. Talks about the war. The odds were astronomical. What were they thinking? They come to the Chachamim and they say, rabbis, can we go to war versus the Greek army? The rabbis say, you're crazy. You're going to die. They say, we know. So why would you go to war? All those Jews that threw away their Judaism, that became Hellenists, we want to show them that Judaism's worth dying for. And hopefully they'll realize if Judaism's worth dying for, maybe it's worth living for. So many people threw it away. The Maccabees are told, you're going to die. They said, we're going to die for Kiddush Hashem. We hope not. But the odds are we're going to. And most of them, you read Megillat Antiochus, most of them did die. Right? The Greeks had these massive tanks. What were the tanks of the Greeks? Elephants. You throw spears, shoot arrows, nothing. There's one spot they're vulnerable. Where's the spot they're vulnerable? The underbelly. I think it was Shimon HaMaccabee. He was an expert. In and out. One time, he didn't get out quick enough. Most of the Maccabees died. But till today, we talk about them. It's always ironic. They have the Maccabiah games all over the world. It was the exact opposite of what the Maccabee stood for. Mila Hashem Elai. That's what Maccabee stands for. Mika mocha be'elim Hashem. Who was like you, God? So you're the one who runs the show. You give us unbelievable koach. They believed we got to do what we got to do. The rest will be up to Hashem. Yosef HaTzadik, this week's parasha, everything that happened revolved around him. Everything that happened was for him. The whole economy for him. This janitor, this blizzard for him. So that he can say Kaddish. Rosh Chodesh is a Yom Tov. Why? So that we can understand and appreciate how special we are and how powerful we are. Chanukah, we get reminded what a handful of people could do. The odds are astronomical. Everybody's against them. Everyone thinks they're crazy. Okay, I got to do what I got to do. Hashem will decide if I'm going to be successful or not. We have to remember, so many times people say this is wrong with the community, this is the challenge, the youth. You do your hishtadut. People think you're crazy. Don't worry about it. They thought the Maccabees were crazy. I have to understand the world b'sheli nivra olam. I got to do what I got to do. And the whole world could change because of me. So I'll just end with the story. Because I'm running out of time. The rabbi has to give the halachat.
No, Rabbi, keep talking.
Yeah. People
Just
have
tell
to know.
us at the end a bit of the organization.
Yeah. Be'ezat Hashem. I'll say it quickly, but I'll end with one story.
Then I go over the
There's a story I heard years ago that stuck with me. It's a story about somebody. He comes to the Baal Shem Tov. And he says to the holy Baal Shem Tov, I want to meet Eliyahu Hanavi. Baal Shem Tov says, doesn't work like that. Not everybody gets to meet it. He says, no, Rabbi, please, I have to meet Eliyahu Hanavi. The Baal Shem Tov looks, again, deep Kabbalistic rabbi, says, okay, you want to meet Eliyahu Hanavi, go to this and this address. In a few days is Rosh Hashanah. Be there for Rosh Hashanah, you'll meet Eliyahu Hanavi. The guy's very excited. Packs up his food, tells his wife and his kids, I'm not going to the regular synagogue, I'm going to this and this town, I'm going to meet Eliyahu Hanavi. Okay. He travels, he's looking for the house, he's expecting a mansion, a palace, teeny little hole in the wall, knocks on the door. The woman opens up the door, can I help you? He says, can I please stay here for Rosh Hashanah? Peeking out, a bunch of little kids, dirty and disheveled. She says, I don't have any food for you. I don't have anywhere for you to sleep. You go to the main part of town. The people, they're much wealthier, much more hospitable. He says, no, I'll sleep on the floor. I bought enough food for me and your whole family. Please, just let me sleep here on the floor and stay here for Rosh Hashanah. Woman says, okay. First day Rosh Hashanah, the guy's praying, learning, doing. No Eliyahu Hanavi. Figure second day Rosh Hashanah. First day Rosh Hashanah, Midat Adin. Second day, Midat Arahamim. He's building himself up. Pray. He's never been on such a spiritual high. Learning, praying, singing with the family, eating the meals. Nothing. Rosh Hashanah comes and goes. No Eliyahu Hanavi. The guy can't believe it. Travels back to the Baal Shem Tov. He says, what'd you do to me? I left my wife. I left my kids. I left my shul. I slept on the floor. I didn't meet him. He says, what do you mean? He says, I didn't meet him. He says, he must have done something wrong. Go back. Be there for Yom Kippur. Are you sure? I'm sure. Guaranteed, be there Yom Kippur, you'll meet Eliyahu Hanavi. Okay, again, the guy packs up all his stuff, packs up food, travels. It's now an hour before the fast. He's about to knock on the door, and he hears from the window little 14-year-old David. And David says to his mother, Mommy, how am I supposed to fast for Yom Kippur? We didn't have anything to eat for the Sudat HaMafseket. I know that after the fast, we have nothing to eat. How am I supposed to concentrate? How am I supposed to fast? How am I supposed to pray on Yom Kippur? And the mother, she knows that her son's right. She has tears streaming down her face. And she says, don't worry, sweetie. The same way Hashem sent us with food for Rosh Hashanah, Eliyahu Hanavi, He'll send us again for Yom Kippur with food, Eliyahu Hanavi. Every person in their own way can be an Eliyahu Hanavi. Every person in their own way can change the world. If you understand, B'sheli nivra olam. The world was created for me. Hashem will change the whole world. Do everything. You can be victorious even if the odds are against you, no matter what, where, why, when. Hashem runs the show. And He can change and do everything. If you have that belief, if you understand, Rosh Chodesh is a Yom Tov. Why? HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem. We have this amazing power. The Rabbi asked me, I'll just say quickly, Be'ezat Hashem, I have the zuchut to live in London. My dear brother-in-law, Rabbi Shlomo Farchi, who's now the rabbi in Safra Synagogue in Manhattan, he called me up. He said, we got to move to London and do, especially for the Sephardi community, but in general for the Kol Kehillah. We go into different schools, Jewish and non-Jewish. We have a community center. A few months ago, we opened up a new Bet Midrash to have, you plant the seeds and you got people, they're down on Judaism. Someone said to me, I said, I'm up to stage 3. Stage 1 was people are down. So you got to get them back to neutral, damage control. Stage 2, you got to inspire. Stage 3, tachlis, they have to learn some halachot, they have to learn sugyot, they have to learn and know what it means to be a good Jew. You can't just have inspiration. You got to now, ready for the next stage. We opened the Bet Midrash, we opened a couple months ago a ladies program that has not just Torah, obviously that's the ikar, but mental health and wellness, cooking, all different things to get the women involved. We just had a very new fashion show that the women loved. Always trying to do and think. And Baruch Hashem, we have the zechut in London to really make a big difference in the kehillah. Thank you again to the kahal and to the rabbi for giving me the zechut to say a few words.
Yes. Quickly, we are live. We are live.
Related to the Parkins. My nephew is Joey Towell. Anyway, 30 years ago, you brought that same thoughts to my mind. We were in photo show in New Orleans. I'm on the worst place in New Orleans. Anyway, 10 minutes to go, a man comes to me, to our booth, and he said, you know where I can say the Kaddish? I says, in about 10 minutes in room 1427. Very small company at the time. He went upstairs. He said the Kaddish. We let him stay for Shabbat. We have a Friday night. The next morning, he brings his wife and his children. He could be a Reform Jew. He starts saying the Kaddish. They started eating with us after Shabbat. He started crying like a baby. I don't know whatever happened to this person, but one spark can change the world.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rabbi Levi. And may you be blessed with continued success in London. I hope the sun shines occasionally there by you. Hey, stick around here in Florida. You get a little nice suntan, right? By popular request, I will go over the halachot of today and Mosa'e Shabbat. I'm not going to go into Chanukah. I think we heard a magnificent, powerful, and relevant message from the great rabbi. So let's concentrate on the halachot specifically. As I mentioned inside, the halakha writes that on Friday afternoon, a person should make the effort of doing mincha before lighting the Chanukiah. And the reason why that's being made is 2 reasons. Number 1, Chanukiah lighting belongs to Shabbat, and mincha belongs to Friday. In the Bet HaMikdash, the korban of Friday afternoon was offered first, and then the Chanukiah or the menorah was lit. So in a way, we mimic the Bet HaMikdash procedure. But simultaneously, the halakha says, in the event that a person is not able to come to pray at the early mincha, the halakha clearly states, do not pray mincha by yourself, but actually light the Chanukiah at home and then come to the regular minyan, because praying with the minyan, it's something not so simple that a person can nullify it even for the sake of fulfilling a mitzvah. That's number one. Halacha number two. It is appropriate that the family is together when we light the Chanukah before the candles of Shabbat. So in Miami, candle lightings of Shabbat is at 5:19 today. So Chanukah should be lit a few minutes before. Halachically speaking, although every night of Chanukah we stay by the candle for 30 minutes, in Friday afternoon we don't have to. Light the Chanukah and come to the Bet Knesset and then come to pray Kabbalat Shabbat with the rest of the Kahal. Our synagogue, just for the audience, is offering a 2 p.m. mincha today, so we are able to satisfy the proper halachic requirement. How long does the candles must last tonight? So the only reason why we light earlier than usual is due to the fact that tonight is Shabbat, and after sunset we cannot light. So therefore the halacha says that we need to make sure that we put enough oil or have a big enough candles that they will remain lit until half an hour after Seta Kochavim, which basically Seta Kochavim is approximately tonight in Miami. I'll throw you the numbers. 5:19 candle lighting, 5:37 sunset, 6:15 Seta Kochavim. So if we need to go half an hour after Seta Kochavim, so the candles must remain lit till approximately 6:45. So if you light at around 5:15, you need to have oil or candles for an hour and a half to properly fulfill the mitzvah of Chanukah tonight, which is the 6th night of Chanukah. Also, we go now to the opposite. Now we're going to go to Mosa'ei Shabbat. Mosa'ei Shabbat, there is a difference in the halacha. When do we light the Chanukah at the synagogue, and when do we light the Chanukah at home? In the synagogue, we light the Chanukah towards the end of Arvit before Havdalah. And the reason why we advance the Chanukah lighting at the synagogue before the end of Arvit, to have a crowd. Because Chanukah, at the end of the day, a lot of the concepts of Chanukah is all Pirsumei Nisa. How do we publicize the miracle of Chanukah? How many more people benefit from the lighting of the menorah? So therefore, at the synagogue, we light it before the end of Arvit, when the entire Kahal is still inside. At home, is completely the opposite. We give priority to Havdalah. At home, first, we recite Havdalah, and then we light the Chanukah, and then you sing the songs, and you say the usual prayers, and you play with the dreidel, time allowing, and you sing Ma'osur Yeshuati, and whatever tradition you have. And the reason why we give preference to Havdalah and then Chanukah, there are a few reasons. Number one, we have a general rule in the halacha that says, Tadir v'sheno tadir, tadir kodem. Mitzvot that happen on a regular basis, and mitzvot that are sporadically, like Havdalah is every Saturday night, so we give the preference to Havdalah. But there is one more reason. Havdalah is to finalize Shabbat, and Chanukah lighting is to welcome the 7th night of Chanukah, which once I said the 7th night, I like to throw in, just for the live audience, the concept of the 8th night of Chanukah. Our IT department usually on Sunday goes on a sabbatical, goes on a recess. So we need to make sure that the audience that will not be watching live don't miss the opportunity that's knocking on our doors. And God willing, Be'ezat Hashem, Sunday morning and time allowing Monday, I will discuss. But I'll tell you the following, just a simple introduction. The 8th night of Chanukah, it carries a tremendous amount of blessings to the person, a tremendous amount of shefa at all levels. In the Hasidic world, it's known as Zot Chanukah, correct? Zot Chanukah, the highlight of Chanukah. Not only that is the longest reading of Chanukah, Monday morning is the longest reading of Chanukah, but the fact that is the combination of the miracle is something so powerful that I'm going to throw in something to give you a sample. That the 8th night and day of Chanukah can give us an upgrade of what's transpired in the moment of Ne'ilah on Motza'e Yom Kippur. Unbelievable. This is only a free sample. But since you're not going anywhere, I'll throw you one more. And thank God I have it in writing. So this way, I'll make it easier. These are my notes from the past. So, I believe that this is attributed to the Megale Amukot, I believe. 90% sure. And it says a very interesting concept. If you ever look at the Perashiot of the week, every Perashah has a number. If you look at the Humash, some Humashim at the end of the Torah portion tells you amount of verses in this Perashah, let's say 96. And the Siman is Tzav, for example. Another one is 172. Siman Ekev. Beautiful. Another one, 101. Michael. Let's talk about 4 particular Perashiot that connects to the high holidays and the celebration of Chanukah. And even though they are 2 different times, high holidays, Elul, Rosh Hashanah, Kippur, Sukkot, and now we are 3 months down the line, but yet we're going to come across 4 particular Perashiot that illustrate by the amount of Pesukim different time of the year. So we begin with the shortest Perashah of the Torah, Perashat Vayelech, towards the end of Sefer Devarim. Perashat Vayelech contains 30 Pesukim. 30 Pesukim, our rabbis tell us, connects to the 30 days of Elul. The 30 days of Elul, according to our tradition, I'm sure they do the same thing in London, Sephardic tradition, Selihot every day. 30 days. Beautiful. The next Perashah, Perashat Nisavim. Nisavim Vayelech are connected. Perashat Nisavim contains at the end 40 verses. These 40 verses, each day corresponds to a Pasuk Mehillah, to a day between Rosh Chodesh Elul and Yom Kippur. Hence you have 40 days, 30 plus 10. Then we have the third Perashah, Ha'azinu. Rosh Chodesh Elul till Simchat Torah, 52 days, 52 verses of Perashat Ha'azinu. But before all of the above, we have Perashah Kitabo. Perashah Kitabo contains 122 Pesukim. What is 122? From Rosh Chodesh Elul till the 8th day of Chanukah, we have 122 days connecting to the 122 Pesukim of Perashah Kitabo. And this is one of the many beautiful things that are applicable, Be'ezat Hashem, from Sunday evening till Monday afternoon, late afternoon, including Parnasah, including children, including Shidduchim. So Baruch Hashem, there is a lot of ammunition to share with the Kahal. I mean donuts, I meant to say, more suitable for Chanukah. There is a lot of goodies coming up our way, but for those unable to watch on Sunday, we wish you a happy Chanukah, Shabbat Shalom, Chodesh Tov. As we know, tomorrow we are going to be bringing out 3 Sifrei Torah, which is not something common that happens. And that by itself, the fact that we bring out 3 Sefer Torah, it constitutes a concept in Jewish law known as Hazakah. Your program is Hazak, right? So that's why you're here with us Shabbat. Shabbat Hazak of Hazakah, of bringing out 3 Sifrei Torah, as the Pasuk writes in the Navi, Ish et re'ehu ya'azoru ulahiv yomar Hazak. Is this your slogan for your institution? Beautiful. Ish et re'ehu ya'azoru. A person should help their friend. Be'et ahiv yomar Hazak. and to your brother you will tell him, be strong. This was Chanukah's survival. This is our survival. As we learned yesterday, we are in exile for close to 2,000 years. And Baruch Hashem, we are surviving. We are surviving through our Torah, with our Hachamim, with our Mizvot and our traditions. So Be'ezat Hashem, let us hope and pray that the final days of Chanukah will be truly fulfill the pasuk that says, Zot Chanukat HaMizbeach, the inauguration of the Mizbeach, the inauguration of the third and final Bet HaMikdash b'meira v'yameinu. Amen. Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach, and Chodesh Tov to everyone. Kaddish al Israel, you have it right there. Rabbi Hananiah ben Akashia Omer, רצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לזכות את ישראל לפיכך. הרבה להם תורה מצוות שנאמר, אדוני חפש למען צדקו, יגדיל תורה וידיר. קדיש. אמן. 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 יהא שמי רבה מברך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך. אמן. אמן. יהא לנו אמן. ורבע ויצא לנו אמן. Amen. Chag Sameach, everybody.